Coming up on BCN today. It's election day, and if you're not registered to vote, there's still time. We tell you where and how. Plus, we chat with some of the Lethbridge candidates about what they did to campaign. And former Prime Minister Paul Martin receives an honorary degree from the U of L.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Election Day Monday. Today is the last day to cast your vote for our next Prime Minister. Most voters will cast their ballots in the country's 43rd general election today, but about 4.7 million voted in advance polls over the Thanksgiving weekend. Polls are open today for 12 hours from 7:30 a.m. till 7:30 p.m. locally. Here's a list, though, of voting times across the country. And if you're not registered to vote, you can still register at your polling station today. To find out where your polling station is, all you need to do is enter your postal code online, or you can call 1-800-463-6868. You can also enter your info online, print a pre-filled registration certificate, and bring it with you to the polls. To register and vote, you must prove your identity and address. A list of acceptable ID is available at elections.ca. And a reminder that Bridge City News will be live with our election coverage tonight, beginning at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Viewers can also live stream Your Vote 2019 from our Facebook page, Miracle Channel's website, and also on YouTube. The latest poll numbers have the Conservatives and Liberals separated by just half a percentage point. It is that close. Now that the campaigning is over, local candidates say they have really ramped up their efforts to get the most votes. BCN's Loris Alexander spoke with some Lethbridge candidates to find out what their strategies were for success.
Green Party candidate Stephanie Watson says finding the time hasn't been easy, and that goes for volunteers too.
We have a lot of amazing people in Lethbridge who want to volunteer and get out and support and stuff, but because of their economic status and stuff, it's really hard for them to do that because there's this huge, many of them are working multiple jobs, have families, are volunteering for all these other things. So an election is just in addition to all of that, right? And that was my case as well as a candidate and stuff. So I was juggling everything I normally juggle on top of this too.
UCP candidate Rachel Harder says she's humbled by the hard work her 200 volunteers have put in.
Donations coming in from all sorts of people from all across the riding. Just again, tremendous generosity, and the time that we've spent at the doors, of course, has been since the beginning of June, and we've managed to knock about 31,000 doors so far. So we're really impressed with the effort that's been put forward, and again, just feel really blessed by my team.
And Liberal candidate Amy Bronson says her team has fundraised very hard to get where they are.
The supporters that I've had have been such a mix. Of course, some members of my family and friends, but realistically, it's all age groups, and every little bit has counted. So, it's especially meaningful to get $25 or $100 from somebody in the millennial age group or younger, or if somebody is at a different life stage and has done well, they've also donated more. But realistically, we've worked very hard with what we've got.
For Bridge City News, I'm Loris Alexander.
Party leaders were in British Columbia on Sunday to make one final push for the hearts and minds of voters before today's federal election. Liberal leader Justin Trudeau made an appeal to voters in Quebec to reject the Bloc Québécois and accuse them of reopening old debates instead of moving forward.
The message has been clear that we need a progressive government to keep fighting, not a progressive opposition. Canadians need to come together. And we just got a very clear reminder of that last night in Quebec, where the Bloc Québécois came out and said that its number one priority is separation. Is dividing the country once again. Not even the fight against climate change, not even to stop conservative cuts, but to revive old debates that we move past. We need to work together.
Conservative leader Andrew Scheer also warned against the bloc while saying Trudeau also had a part to play in creating a divided Canada.
I must address the Bloc Québécois leader's speech, sovereigntist speech from last night. At the 11th hour of this campaign, he's admitted what we've known all along. His first priority after the election is to work with the Parti Québécois towards a new referendum. That means that a vote for the Bloc is a vote for a referendum. Another sign of the divisiveness that Justin Trudeau has cultivated in our country, turning province against province, region against region. We're going to continue to do what we've always done, and that is to promote a positive campaign full of positive ideas that will help make life more affordable for Canadians, help Canadians reach their goals and live out their dreams. And that is really the choice, a choice between an NDP Liberal coalition that will run massive deficits, make life less affordable, more expensive, leave less money in your pocket, or a Conservative government that will lower taxes, get back to balanced budgets, and help make life more affordable.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh claims division has been caused by successive Liberal and Conservative governments favoring the wealthy over everyday Canadians.
The division we're seeing, I believe, is a result of economic insecurity. The fact that more than half of Canadians report that they are in a really tough way, that they're just on the edge of not being able to pay their bills, and that they're worried about the future. And all these worries and fears create divisions, or worries and fears allow others to come in and to divide us based on things that are not the reason for the problems. We are here today because Liberal and Conservative governments have favored the wealthy and powerful over families, given them massive exemptions and tax loopholes and offshore tax havens. It's because of those decisions that we're here. And I believe we can build a unified country if people see justice in their lives.
Green Party leader Elizabeth May was making a last-ditch appeal for electoral reform. She's told supporters in Vancouver the current voting system in Canada is not just flawed, it's dangerous. She says it allows someone to get 100% of the power with very little of the popular vote. May promised to bring in proportional representation and to give 16-year-olds the right to vote. Liberal leader Justin Trudeau promised to reform the electoral system when he was campaigning for office in 2015, but then he abandoned the pledge, calling it too complicated. If there is a Liberal NDP coalition tonight, we could potentially see more calls for Alberta separation. Peter Downing is a former member of the RCMP and Canadian Armed Forces. He's now the leader of Wexit Alberta and wants to see our province become its own country. Downing says a lot of the frustration stems from the way Ottawa neglects Alberta, and he says the movement is gaining a lot of momentum.
The movement's moving forward. We're getting our signatures. We're going out. We're meeting people. We're talking to people about the things that are really important to them. Because again, it's our values that lead the organization. It's not just about leaving Canada or determining, again, we're not picking up our country and physically moving it. We're talking about Albertans governing Alberta for Albertans. And it's led by those three values: economic liberty, social stability, and Alberta sovereignty.
Catch the full interview with Mr. Downing discussing the potential for Alberta separation coming up later in the show. The University of Lethbridge held its fall convocation ceremonies over the weekend, and former Prime Minister Paul Martin was presented with an honorary Doctor of Laws degree. Afterwards, the 81-year-old Martin chatted with the media about the award and also weighed in on climate change.
I am just so proud of getting this honorary degree, but to get it from Lethbridge, with what Lethbridge is doing in terms of the Indigenous population of our country, just makes it so valuable, so touching, so emotional. The oil companies in Alberta sponsored many Indigenous young people to go into higher education, and there was a great deal, and there is a great deal of understanding. And I really do believe that all of this can be worked out. There is no doubt that protecting the planet is fundamental. It's fundamental to all of us. But I think that we've got to recognize that when we work together, we can accomplish great things.
U of L Chancellor Charles Weaselhead paid tribute to the Paul Martin Family Initiative and its support of Indigenous communities across the nation. Coulee Climbing in Lethbridge was a busy place over the weekend as it hosted the Alberta Climbing Association Regional Climbing Competition.
Today we have 100 competitors, but 102 competitors from all over Alberta, everywhere from north of Edmonton, Calgary, Okotoks, and then as well we also have athletes climbing out of Regina in Saskatchewan and Cranbrook in BC and a few other places as well. So today, right now, we're running a qualifying round, and then later today, after the second session of qualifiers, we'll have a finals round. So the top 6 athletes, the top 6 male athletes and the top 6 female athletes will proceed to finals. And then from there, this will determine part of their rankings within the province. And then in November, I believe, there'll be a provincial competition.
The winners of the provincial and national finals could potentially compete in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, where sport climbing will make its Olympic debut. The passenger of a car that was shot at by police during a military parade in Calgary on Saturday has been released. The Alberta Serious Incident Response Team says the incident began when a 21-year-old man driving a Toyota Corolla and a 28-year-old female passenger rounded a corner and attempted to drive past a barricade set up for the parade. The passenger appeared to have a single gunshot wound near her left thigh, while the driver appeared to have a bullet wound to his left forearm. The driver was still in hospital yesterday, but his injuries weren't considered life-threatening. The Corolla was stolen, and so was the license plate. Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg spent part of the weekend near Fort McMurray conducting interviews, which a local First Nations says will be part of an upcoming BBC documentary. The Mikisew Cree First Nation says Thunberg's interviews focus on environmental concerns over oil sands development and climate change. Thunberg was presented with a blanket stating in a news release that the First Nation was honored to join forces with her as she leads the way in protecting our planet from the climate crisis. There are apparently new rules put in place which were used to prevent faith-based summer camps from obtaining funding from the Canada Summer Jobs Program. This is according to the Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms. One of the group's lawyers, Marty Moore, joined Hal Roberts from Calgary to talk about how 2 of the summer camps have taken issue with these rules and are taking the feds to court.
Right now, we have the 2019 Canada Summer Jobs Program before the courts. In 2018, of course, people remember that the federal government imposed essentially a values test by making everyone a test to respect certain rights regarding sexuality and abortion. And in 2019, the government dropped that attestation, likely in response to court challenges raised by the Justice Centre and others. But for 2019, the federal government has created a whole swath of new rules. And these new rules have been used to deny summer camps funding through the Canada Summer Jobs Program across the country. And so we've represented 2 summer camps, one in Nova Scotia and one in Ontario, to challenge these new rules and to challenge the decisions of the federal government, which we really see as essentially discriminating against religious organizations participating in these federal government programs.
When, in fact, will this be going to court?
We anticipate a court date coming up in 2020. The litigation process is moving along, but it doesn't move quickly. So the next court date anticipated in 2020.
Marty Moore with the Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms. Thanks for joining me today from Calgary.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
A nice fall day with lots of sunshine again today, but lots of wind too. A full look at the weather picture is coming right up after the break. Welcome back. Here's a look at our weather highlights for Lethbridge. For voting today, lots of sunshine, high of 9 degrees. But keep in mind there's going to be lots of wind out there too, gusting to 60 kilometers per hour by noon. Tomorrow we got some rain in the forecast there, but a high of 14 degrees. Also lots of wind tomorrow as well. Looking ahead to the 5-day, we've got a chance of showers on Wednesday with a high of 5. And then the temperature is going to rise back up again by Thursday, and we're going to get back into double digits for a high of 13 degrees. Lots of sunshine in the forecast, though, for Thursday, Friday, high of 14. Saturday, Sunday, mix of sun and cloud with highs of 5 and 3 degrees for those days. So weather kind of a little bit all over the place for this fall weather. The average temperature this time of year should be 13 degrees. That's the average high. The average low is -1. But the highest temperature on this day was 27 degrees in 2003, and the lowest temperature was -15 in 1961. The sun rose this morning at 8:02 a.m. We'll be setting this evening at 6:30 p.m. So that means we've only got about 10.5 hours of daylight as the days are getting shorter and shorter. Looking to the national forecast, BC, Victoria, high of 12 degrees, a chance of showers. Rain also in the forecast for Vancouver with a high of 11. We got a mix of sun and cloud up in Edmonton with highs of 8 degrees and a high of 11 degrees in Calgary with a chance of rain there. Saskatoon, looking to the prairies, we've got sunshine and 8 degrees. Mix of sun and cloud in the forecast for Regina with a high of 8. 8 degrees also in Winnipeg with a chance of showers. So fairly consistent weather across the prairies there. But look at this in the east. We've got sunshine, sunshine, and more sunshine. Toronto, high of 16 degrees. Ottawa, high of 15. And also a high of 15 degrees in Montreal. So not a bad looking day out there at all. Looking to the Maritimes, Fredericton also 15 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Same exact thing for Halifax there with a high of 15. High of 13 degrees in Charlottetown, mix of sun and cloud as well. St. John's, though, we're going to be seeing temperatures around 9 degrees with a chance of showers there as well. That's your forecast. Here's a look at what's happening in your community.
Here is your Bridge City News Community Calendar. Come for an amazing time to the McNally Community Association's Tex-Mex Fiesta fundraiser on Saturday, October 19th at the McNally Community Center. The evening begins with dinner at 7 p.m., with entertainment at 8 and a barn dance at 8:30. Music provided by the Great Canadian Barn Dance Band, plus a silent auction and raffle draw. Tickets are $50 per person and can be purchased at Western Stockman. For more information, visit mcnallycommunity.ca. Family Center's Parent Advisory Council and Exhibition Park invite you to come to the 5th Tastic Boo Bash on Saturday, October 26 from 1 to 4 p.m. at Exhibition Park West Pavilion. Come with your family, dressed up in your best costume, and enjoy crafts, games, a bouncy castle, photo booth, and so much more. There's no admission charges or parking fees. For more information, visit famcenter.ca. The United Way Coats for Kids and Families campaign continues until October 31st, accepting new and gently used winter wear for families in need in the community. Accepted items include new or gently used coats, mittens, scarves, snow pants, snow boots, and new hats and toques. Items can be dropped off at United Way and any Lethbridge TD Canada Trust or ATB Financial branch. For more information, call 403-327-1700. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.
Pens top the list as one of the most stolen items in the world. Today's daily life hack will help reduce theft of your handy writing utensil. Here's what you do. You stick a red pen cap on a blue pen to prevent people from stealing it. Nobody steals red pens, apparently. And that's been your daily life hack. Well, Canada Post is resetting passwords for all online customer accounts. There was a report that some personal information may have been compromised. The Postal Service says stolen login names and passwords may have been used to access Canada Post accounts. It maintains, however, that it did not constitute a cyber attack or a breach of the Canada Post system. A UK actress is suing a theater company and her agency after being fired for quoting the Bible on Facebook. Reports say she was removed from a lead role in a musical for a 4-year-old Facebook post that cited scripture. She's suing them for breach of contract and for anti-Christian discrimination. The case, supported by the Christian Legal Center, raises the question of whether Bible-believing Christians have the freedom to hold and express mainstream biblical views in public without fear of losing their livelihoods.
The Facebook post was made in 2014. Was that 4 years ago? On all my social medias, I always post stuff about God or the Bible or scriptures. They knew that I was Christian, and they knew my stance on marriage, they knew my stance on my faith, they knew my stance on God, on many different things that are in the Bible. I still can't believe it today. There was this massive opportunity, something that I never thought I would ever even achieve. And then I remember the casting director telling me, Shay, be very careful about where you go next, where you train next, because you have a very raw talent. The post that I wrote 4 years ago, I don't know how it came out. I don't even know who found it. I don't know who the person is that posted it either. I was quite taken back, and I was like, wow, really? People really think I hate them? People were calling me homophobic, and then I started getting calls from the producers saying something like I should retract the statement or what I posted, or say sorry for what I posted. I didn't think it would get this far. In terms of termination, in terms of me losing an agent, I've been trying to email agents, trying to get work, and it's just no response. I didn't think it would escalate to this. The opportunity that I could possibly have been in The Colour Purple was amazing for me, because I played Nettie in the concert version. So I think it was a massive shock, and I think it also made me believe that I could possibly do this as a career, that there is a place for me. If I have to go through this situation so that other Christians don't have to, in the long run, that they can be Christians and still perform on stage, and they can be vocal about their faith and their belief system, but also be actors, then I'll go for it. I don't think it's fair for people to dictate who can be in an industry and who can't. I should be allowed to be a Christian and still perform.
Coming up in the second half of our show, BCN's Hal Roberts speaks with First Nations activist Martin Heavyhead, who weighs in on why he feels some Indigenous groups are in favor of getting pipelines built, while others are against it. That's coming up after the break, so stay with us.